Hello students, welcome to online course of Mechanical Measurement and Metrology. Myself Abhishek Trivedi from Mechanical Engineering Department at LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. We are discussing intermediate modifying and terminating devices and advancements in the metrology era, current advancement in the metrological era. In the previous lecture, we have discussed the basic inherent problems which are directly linked with the mechanical systems. Then we have discussed the basic concept of electrical and electronic signal conditioning devices and how they are dominating over the mechanical systems in the current advancement of the metrological era. Then we have discussed the basic concept of the input circuitry. The inherent problems which are generated within the systems are problems which arise in the amplification, problems which are arise in the kinematic linearity, then the reflection of amplification, the reflection of frictional resistance, then the problem which are generated due to the tolerance zone, due to the temperature effect, and all these problems are basic problems which are directly relate with the mechanical systems, and they are very inherent problems. We cannot eliminate all such problems, but we can cope up some of the problems, we can eliminate some of the problems, and by making a system more feasible for the modifying devices as a modifying device due to the mechanical inertia and the linkage setup. The basic reason, or we can say the root cause of generation of all this problem is its own mass. The system contains its own mass, and due to its own mass the system will generate some sort of the problem. The system will face some sort of the problems due to the inertia effect, due to the frictional effect which are generated due to the mass momentum of the given mechanical elements. Today we are starting with the basic concept of operational amplifiers. So let us start the basic concept of operational amplifier, and then we are moving to the different instruments which are useful for data collection, data representation. The name suggests operational amplifier. Now first of all, let us understand the basic concept of the operational amplifier before understanding the circuit of the operational amplifier. Suppose this is some sort of the amplifier. Now you all know, or you all aware about what is the concept of the amplifier. The amplifier is used to amplify the signal. The amplifier is used to convert the signal which is very weak to very strong in the texture, in the nature. Suppose this is the this particular amplifier named as multiplication amplifier. We are taking a simple example, multiplication amplifier. So what does it says that, suppose I am providing some sort of the input. This is a 5x multiplier. 5x multiplier means whatever the value of the input will be provided, it will multiply it with 5, and we are supposed to find some sort of the output. Let's say we are providing a very weak signal, we are providing only 2 as a input. Then what does multiplier will do? Multiplier will simply multiply the input with the value of 5, and we are supposed to find the value of 10. So this is the case of the operational amplifier. Whatever the operation will be performed by the particular amplifier, all the operations are covered in the operational amplifier. We can do any sort of the mathematical approach, we can do any sort of the equation based approach, we can do any sort of the relationship, we can use any sort of the analytical approach, we can use any sort of the statistical approach, we can use any sort of the any kind of the operations, any kind of the we can say any kind of the process will be generated, will be done over the input signal, and we are supposed to find some sort of the amplified output. Then the particular intermediate portion is known as the operational amplifier. Do remember one thing, what you are supposed to do? We are supposed to do some sort of the process over the input signals, and after the processing the input signal, we are supposed to find the amplified output. Mark my word, we are supposed to find amplified output. Once you are supposed to find the amplified output, the intermediate element is known as the operational amplifier. The figure shows the basic concept of operational amplifier, in which a basic input has been provided with some sort of the resistance, and we are supposed to provide some sort of the input, and here we are providing some sort of the amplified version. So what does it generate? It will generate, it is the accumulation of voltage V1 and V2, and it will provide some sort of the output. So whatever the output, V output will be generated, the V output is modified, or we can say amplified by the value of V1, because we are supposed to provide the value of V2. V2 that is our input. We can say that in this particular case V2 is our input, the amplification factor is our V1 and output will be V out. This is our output, where V out is amplified form. V out is a modified form of the particular input signals. So we can say that this is the operational amplifier. The circuit shows the operational amplifier. The next topic, that is the terminating devices. Now what do you mean by terminating devices? As the name suggests, if the system will be terminated by some sort of the devices, then it is known as a terminating devices. We have already discussed the GMS, generalized measurement system. In a very previous lectures we have discussed the GMS, generalized measurement system. What does GMS shows? So GMS start with the first of all physical system. What does GMS shows? GMS always start with the physical system, then the primary sensing element. After the primary sensing element, we have lot of elements like data transmission element, data modification element, data processing element, and so on. We have differentiate all the elements as per the requirement, as per the application of the given element. Then whatever the output will be generated by following all these elements, the output will be provided to the data presentation element. This data presentation element is known as the terminating devices. Terminating devices, because it will terminate the loop. It will terminate the loop and it will provide some sort of the output. We have classified the terminating device in the three different categories, like a recorder, controller, and indicator. We have classified the terminating devices in the three different categories, like recorder, controller, and indicator. So what is the terminating devices? A final stage, or the we can say terminating stage, that provides the information about the input signal quantity in the form that can be easily read by the human beings or the controller. Here this is the by, not B, it's by, can be easily read by the human beings or the controller. So what is the basic aim of the terminating device? Is the terminating device provide the information which is collected from the input signal in the accessible form for the human being or for the controller, or for the second stage of the measuring system, second stage of the given system, is known as the terminating devices. The terminating devices, as I have told you, is classified in the three different categories. The first one, that is the indicator. The first one, that is the indicator. The indicator is used to give the indication of the input which is being measured. Now indicator, what do you mean by indicator? So suppose I am using a basic voltmeter. Suppose this is the value 5. Over here, start with 0, then 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Starting with the 0 and ends at the 10. So what does indicator shows? Suppose whatever the connection has been provided over here, whatever the connection has been provided, whatever the voltage has been generated, let's say we are supposed to provide the 7 volt as the input. So what the pointer will show? The pointer will show at the 7 volt condition. This particular instrument is known as an indicator instrument because it shows the input signal in the indicating form. Do remember, in the indicator we are not supposed to find the permanent record. To find the permanent record, you are supposed to go for the recorder. Indicator will show the transient response of the given system. Suppose the voltage will be changed to the 6 volt, then directly the particular pointer will change its position to the 6 volt. Suppose it will change to the 3 volt, then the pointer will transiently change its position to the 3 volt. So what does it shows? What does it mean? That the particular indicator will show the input, or will indicate the value of the input in a transient form. It means at the each and every fraction of time, at the each and every fraction of time frame, the indicator will change, the pointer will change its position and it will indicate the input continuously. So if we are supposed to find the value continuously, we are using the indicator, but indicator does not provide any kind of permanent record. Then the second one, that is the recorder. As the name suggests, it will record in a form that can be evaluated by the human sense, then we are using recorder. As I have told you, suppose I want some sort of the recording, I want some sort of the permanent records for the further experiments, for the further reference, then we are go for the recorder. Suppose in the cardiogram, or we can say in the seismograph, the waves of the earthquake will be recorded. So what the seismograph shows? The seismograph shows some sort of the vibrations. The seismograph shows some sort of the vibrations, and all these vibrations will be plotted over a page. So in the particular recording devices, whatever the reading will be generated, whatever the plotting has been generated, the plotting has been plotted over the paper. The plotted data will be plot over the paper, or we can say in the computer system, or we can say in any sort of the memory data, just to provide the recordings, just to provide the permanent record of the given data for the future reference. So we are using the recorder. So like seismograph, like cardiogram data, and all these particular elements like radiography, then we are using ultrasonic wavelength testing, then all these particular data will be recorded, and the recorded data will be stored for the evaluation by the human access. So all these particular elements, all these particular devices are known as a recorder devices. And the last but not the least, that is a processor, or okay, we can say controller. The processor and controller will use to feed to read out or recording devices and or controlling systems. Suppose we are using the AC, and I have maintained the temperature of the AC, let's say 22 degrees Celsius. A controller has been provided inside the measuring system. So once the measuring system will be start its own loop, then once it will achieve the temperature of 22 degrees Celsius, the controller will be activated, and it will provide the signal to the compressor to turn off the compressor. Then the compressor will be turned off. Once the temperature will rise from the 22 degree, let's say 23 or 24 degree, again the controller will provide some sort of the signal to the compressor that to start the compressor and to maintain the temperature of the given room. So controller will use to provide some sort of the controlling effect over the system. And once we are using the controller, we are supposed to provide some sort of the feedback to the main signal, primary detecting devices, or we can say we are using the feedback system to within the loop to complete the closed loop. In the indicator, in the recorder, we are supposed to use open loop system, and it will be okay to use the open system, but particularly we are using controller, we are supposed to provide some sort of the closed loop, and to close the loop we are using the feedback system. So these particular controllers are useful to control the given system, to control the recording devices, and by taking the control over the recording device, it will also indicate some sort of the changes, it will also suggest some sort of the changes in the mechanical system to maintain the basic requirement, to maintain the prerequisite requirement of the given system. So these are the basic terminating devices. Then the next topic, that is the analog voltmeter. The topic named as analog voltmeter, as we have already discussed that what is the analog voltmeter. Analog voltmeter means we are supposed to provide some sort of the pointer and the sensing we are supposed to provide some sort of the pointer, and the calibrated scale has been provided to the system. The circuit diagram shows the analog voltmeter. In the particular analog voltmeter, we are supposed to provide some sort of the load, and the voltage supply has been provided within the two ends of the two leads of the voltmeter. Then the non-inductive resistance has been provided, which will not generate any kind of inductive method. It will not generate any kind of inductance within the system, and the analog voltmeter will be run. Whereas the digital voltmeter, in which we are supposed to provide the digital display for providing the output. Do remember, in the digital voltmeter we are supposed to use some sort of the digital display unit for the output indication, whereas in the analog voltmeter we are supposed to provide we are supposed to provide pointer and calibrated scale for providing the analog output, for providing the analog voltage of the given system. So this is the basic difference between the analog and digital voltmeter. The name of the topic, that is the cathode ray oscilloscope. As the name suggests, we are supposed to use some sort of the cathode wave rays. We are supposed to use some sort of the cathode rays to generate the effect of the rays over the screen. This is a very digital instrument for finding the points over the digital display. The figure shows a basic constructional features of the cathode ray oscilloscope, and here this is the three-dimensional original pictorial representation of the CRO. CRO means cathode ray oscilloscope. In this particular CRO, in this particular cathode ray oscilloscope, we are supposed to provide some sort of the input over this particular point. This is the input signal portion. Then whatever the input has been provided, the first one, the very basic vertical amplifiers has been provided. The vertical amplifier is used to amplify the signal in the vertical directions. Then from the vertical amplifier, the one portion of the signals has been cutted down, and it will provide it to the triggering circuit. The triggering circuit is used to generate some sort of the triggers in the CRO system. Then whatever the triggers has been generated, it will provide it to the time based generator and then to the horizontal amplifier. The horizontal amplifier is used to generate some sort of the horizontal amplification to the main system. Then the vertical, whatever the remaining signals are coming out from the vertical amplifier system, it will provide it to the delay line. The delay line is used to provide some sort of the delay till these particular signals will pass through all these circuits and come to its original position. The delay line will hold the signals, and whatever the holding time will be provided, after the holding time the signal will be transferred to the vertical deflection plates. So from the vertical amplifier, whatever the signals are coming out, the signals are provided to the vertical amplification plate, and whatever the horizontal amplifier will provide some sort of the signals, it will provide it to the horizontal amplification plate. Then in the center of the CRO, the CRT, cathode ray tube, has been provided. This particular tube is known as a cathode ray tube. The cathode ray tube is a very important element for the CRO element. In the CRT, or we can say in the particular cathode ray tube, we are supposed to provide some sort of the heater. The heater will generate some sort of the rays of the cathode. Then the focusing anode has been provided on both the side, and whatever the flow of the electrons has been generated, the flow of the electron will pass through the center line of the particular setup. Then it will be passed to the vertical deflector, and then it will pass to the horizontal deflector, and it will generate some sort of the triggering over the display. Over here the screen has been provided. The screen is contains some sort of the luminous spot. Once the electron will strike the screen, then it will generate some sort of the luminous spot, and due to this luminous spot, it will generate some sort of the illumination over the screen. And due to this illumination of the screen, we can check the image, we can check the particular plot, we can check the graph, we can check the point of the graph over the screen. And continuous illumination of the graph, continuous illumination of the screen will generate some sort of the graph image. The basic, or we can say the major subsystems of the CRO, that is the power supply. The very basic system is a power supply. If you are not supposed to provide a proper power supply, or we can say if you are not supposed to provide the proper arrangement of the power supply, the CRO will not work properly. Then CRT, as we have discussed, the CRT, the cathode ray tube, inside the CRO, it's a very prime element for the working of the cathode ray oscilloscope. Then horizontal and vertical amplifiers are useful to amplify the signals in the both horizontal and vertical direction simultaneously. Then triggering circuit is used to trigger the time based generator and to perform the working of the CRO properly. Then time based generator is there, and at the end it's a delay line. As I have told you that the delay line will provide some sort of the delay within the signals which are coming from the vertical amplifier to hold the signals till the horizontal amplifier will provide some sort of the output, the horizontal deflection plate. So this is the basic concept of the CR, or we can say cathode ray oscilloscope. Now we are going to discuss the data logger. The name suggests data logger. Data logger means the instrument which is used to indicate the data in the transient form, to store the data in the transient form, and to record the data in the transient form for the further references. Whatever the input has been provided to the data logger, it will directly transfer to the first of all input scanner. The input scanner will transfer the data to the signal amplifier and controller. If we are supposed to require some sort of the amplification, then we are providing the input data to the amplifier. Some sort of the data is directly transferred to the recorder for the recording purpose. Then we are supposed to provide a real-time clock. The real-time clock is used to check the timing, and it will plot the graph within the recording data with reference of the time. So real-time clock is useful for measuring the data as per the time being constraints. So we can say that whatever the time will be changed as per the time, as per the particular fraction of time we are going to record the data. So data logger will provide you data with the range of the time, we can say with the bounding of the time, that at particular time the data is this, at this particular time the signal value is this, as per this particular time the signal value is this. Then a programmer circuit has been provided. The programmer circuit is useful. This is the programmer circuit which is useful to control all the setups. So if I am supposed to require the amplified data, the data should be recorded with the real time, then I will use the data logger. The figure shows the basic structure of the data logger. The data logger is a very important element. It's a very important instrument to collect the data with time and at the transient moment. If we are supposed to record the data, if we are supposed to collect the data at the particular time and within the range of the time, let's say I can say that if I have to suppose a power plant is running and I have to check the frequency of the voltage output, I have to check the whatever the power will be generated, I have to check the voltage and the frequency of the given particular power which is generated. And if my requirement is I have to collect the data at each and every second with the proper timing, so I am supposed to provide the data logger. Data logger will provide you, let's say, date, that at this particular date the power plant is running, the time at which we are going to collect the data, the exact time in the, let's say, in this particular format, hours to minutes to second format. Then whatever the voltage has been generated at this particular time, whatever the frequency has been generated at this particular time, let's say time t1. As the second change, it will generate the reading of t2, then t3, then t4, and so on. So I can say that in a single day it will store the data, let's say this it will store the data. So we can say that in a single day the data logger will check that in the particular day we have 24 hours, each hour will contain 60 minutes and each contain 60 seconds. So this much amount of the readings will be taken by the data logger and it will stored within the memory unit of the data logger. After the end of the day, we are supposed to collect all the data and all the data will be transferred to the computer system, and by using the analytical, by using the statistical approach, we can calculate the on and average frequency, the on and average voltage generated within the day. We can calculate the on and average frequency and the voltage generated within the particular time. Let's say I have to find what is the average frequency within the time frame of 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the noon session, then I can find it. I have to find that in the evening from the time being 5:30 to 6:30, what is the average frequency, I can find the value from the data logger. So data logger is a very important instrument to collect the data, to store the data, to analyze the data, and to provide the data as per the requirement. So guys, this is the basic concept of the data logger. Over here we are winding our lecture. What we have discussed today, we have discussed two different instruments. The first one, that is the CRO, cathode ray oscilloscope, and the second one, that is the data logger. I hope you are properly cleared about the both the instruments. From the next lecture we are going to start our second portion of the chapter, that is the advancement in the metrology. We are going to discuss the two different instruments for the advancement in the metrology. The first one, that is the laser interferometry, and the second one, that is the CMM, coordinate measuring machine. I hope probably in the next lecture or next to next lecture we are going to wind up our chapter. Till then, thank you.